Hello, algebra students. So if you were in class Thursday, today, I showed another way to divide polynomials because the way I taught on Tuesday, Wednesday, the way I showed you on Tuesday, Wednesday, which is the traditional method, is very long and tedious. And I could tell that several of you were having trouble with it. There were lots of opportunities to make a mistake in the process. And so what I did was I went on YouTube and I searched for a way that might have been a little bit easier. Okay, and I think I found that way. And I taught that in class on Thursday, today. I also plan on teaching it in fifth period and sixth period, seventh period, mainly making this video for you because I'm not going to be in class to teach it. But for anyone else in the other classes who want either were absent or want to see this again so they can rewind and look at the steps again, this is for you too. All right, so another way to divide polynomials. And here's the four steps, and you'll see what the four steps mean as we do them. So the first step is flip the sign. In the other method, there was a lot of sign flipping. You had to multiply, and then you divide and then multiply, and then you subtracted. But before you subtracted, you flip the signs, and there was a lot of sign flipping, and people didn't understand why there was sign flipping, and there was all sorts of panicking and such. So we're only flipping the sign once now. Okay. The second is we're going to divide the first terms. I'll show you what that means in a minute. And then three, we go through a cycle of multiplying and adding and sometimes dividing. And then we write the remainder. Okay? So let's go through the steps. Ignore this. And this is actually our first problem. X squared, oops, this actually should be x squared plus x minus 6 divided by x plus 3. Okay? So step one, flip the sign. And the sign that we're flipping is we're taking this plus 3 and we're going to put a minus 3 above it. Okay? Now, there's a mathematical reason why this works. And if you ever like me to explain it to you, come ask me and I'll be glad to tell you. All right, the next step, it says divide the first terms. Sorry, I'm going to have to do a lot of focusing here. Divide the first terms. So divide x squared by x. And x squared divided by x is x, or we could put 1x. Okay? Then we have step 3, which is multiply, add, divide if necessary. All right, there's not going to be any dividing in this problem because we see that we have an x without a number next to it. There's no coefficient next to the x or has a coefficient of 1. We don't need to do any dividing. The steps are just to simply multiply and add all the way through. Okay, so here's how it works. So I'm going to fill in a 1 here because we're going to need that 1 in a second. All right, so we multiply. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. All right, so again, multiply these two numbers. Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. And we're going to put that negative 3 right here. And then negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Okay? Then we multiply again. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. So put that little positive 6 right here. And then a positive 6 and a negative 6 make a 0, and that's going to be our remainder. Once we get to the last number, that's our remainder. So if our remainder is 0, that means there's no remainder, and so our answer is just x minus 2. Okay, let's do one that actually has a remainder. Okay, so next we're going to do m squared minus 7m minus 11 divided by m minus 8. All right, so step 1, we're going to flip the signs. We're going to, instead of a minus 8, we're going to put a little plus 8. All right, we're going to divide the first terms. M squared divided by m is m, or 1m. We're going to multiply and add. 8 times 1 is 8, so we're going to put a little plus 8 right here. And then 8 minus a positive 8 and a negative 7 is a positive 1. So plus 1m, plus 1, sorry, just plus 1. No m there. And then we multiply again. 8 times 1 is 8. So put a little plus 8 there. And then 8 minus 11 is negative 3. And negative 3 is our remainder. So we put 3 over m minus 8. So it's m plus 1 minus 3 over m minus 8. Okay, let's try another one. So we have n squared plus 10n plus 18 divided by n plus 5. And you might want to pause it and try to do it yourself before I do it, so you can see if you can do it yourself. But here we go. Flip the sign, make that a negative 5. Divide the first terms. N squared divided by n is 1n. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. Focus. Focus. Thank you. And then negative 5 plus 10 is positive 5. So we put plus 5. Negative 5 times 5 is negative 25. So we put a little negative 25 here. This is going to be our remainder. So negative 25 plus 18 is negative 7. So we put minus 7 over n plus 5. All right, so let's search for another example. And let's do one. All right, what's the next one we're going to do? So number 4. We're going to do 2x squared minus 17x minus 38 divided by 2x plus 3. All right? This one, there's a number in front of the x. So here's how we handle it, okay? We're still going to flip the sign. We're still going to divide the first terms. So 2x squared divided by 2x is x. All right, because 2 divided by 2 is 1. And then x squared divided by x is x. All right? Then we're going to divide by 2. All right? So now instead of multiplying, adding, we're going to also divide by 2. So we're going to do negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. And then negative 3 minus 17 is negative 20. And then divide that by 2. And you get negative 10. So we put minus 10 up here. Then we do it again. Negative 3 times negative 10 is 30, positive 30. And then this is the remainder. Once we get to the last number, we don't divide. We just do 30 minus 38 is negative 8. And so we have minus 8 over 2x plus 3. All right, let us do one more example. This example is going to be a little bit longer. I don't know what number I'm on anymore. 5. All right, so number 5 and the last one. We have n to the third plus 7n squared plus 14n plus 3 divided by n plus 2. All right? So here we go. Flip. Divide the first terms. So n to the third divided by n is n squared, or 1n squared. And now we multiply. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Focus. All right, then negative 2 plus 7 is 5. So we put plus 5n. So we're working our way backwards. We had n squared, and then next we go n to the first. Sorry, I'm having camera issues. Okay. All right, so 5 into the first. So we start with n squared. We go to n. The next one is going to be a number without an n. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. And negative 10 plus 14 is 4. And then negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. And negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. And negative 5 is our remainder. So we have minus 5 over n plus 2. So that's how it's done. This method can be used on assignment 3-5. So if you didn't like the other way, go ahead and try that out. Watch this video as many times as you need to understand the process, and have an excellent evening. Happy mathing.